So I just wanted to start off by saying that to most people, I personify the dominant archetype. Outwardly, I look like a white male, but there's a lot more nuances to my story that I wanted to share as the other. My name is Joe Vasquez, and I am a co-director at Runway Incubator based in San Francisco. My early childhood was marked with a lot of different types of struggles that most people don't generally have to go through. I lost all of my hearing, or most of my hearing, when I was about 1 year old. In my left ear, I can't hear at all. My right ear, I have about 20% of my hearing. I went to an all-deaf school where I first learned sign language. My father, being a traditional male Latino, wasn't exactly fond with the idea that I was going to be in a non-mainstream school. I was put in a mainstream school where I was constantly singled out. I felt like I didn't have a place within that community. I was always the deaf person. I didn't really know how to speak the same language, even though we were speaking the same language. My father passed away when I was 14. Most people in my family struggle with addiction. Being Latino was not part of my everyday life because it was something that I didn't feel like I could own and live with. But all said, I'm blessed. One of the great things about going through struggle and adversity when you're growing up is the ability to develop a sense of empathy, awareness that everybody, regardless of what they look like, have struggles large and small. But at the end of the day, it's important to realize that we're all human. Being deaf, I thought I was going to be a singer growing up until people started complaining about it. I still sing in the office and people still complain about it. It's a little bit of a problem. But that being said, I really fell in love with the canvas. I love painting, drawing, expressing my ideas through visual mediums. My unique view of the world, the perspective that I had in it, allowed me to express my ideas in very unique ways, which translates in a little bit to my work in entrepreneurship. But one thing that I've took away from that is people with different abilities have so many unique ideas, and we need to give them the medium, the new canvas, the different ways to express those ideas, whether it's visually, it's orally, it's so many different ways to express it, and give them the space and the opportunities, like some of our amazing panelists have said so far. Increasingly, I saw the idea that art could connect so many disparate, unique ideas in powerful ways, which later has translated into creativity and entrepreneurship in what I do today. Currently, I work for Runway Incubator based in San Francisco. We are a co-working space with about 75 companies, a corporate innovation facility where we work with global 2,000 companies to help them innovate, work with startups and find the next generation technology, and a social impact fund where we invest in cutting-edge social impact technologies. I've been able to work with a wide array of amazing entrepreneurs, but to me, entrepreneurship marries the realities of the world with your interpretation of its possibilities. Something where meritocracy is an everyday reality, but sometimes it's not. And I'm working with some of the greatest people to help make entrepreneurship a true meritocracy. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot that's holding back some of the best and most promising entrepreneurs from being the most successful. One of the great things about entrepreneurship is that it requires empathy, it requires passion, perseverance. Some of the true hallmarks of some of the people who have gone through the most adversity growing up. We've seen time and time again, the most promising entrepreneurs come from the most underrepresented backgrounds, which is why we're placing all of our money in the entrepreneurs who understand the stories and the problems of the people that we're trying to help the most. I set out to connect different ideas to create a new reality, one that solved the most serious problems in the world. So one of the things that we've talked about so far, I've seen time and time again, microaggressions. Now, some of you may know what microaggressions are. Microaggressions are subtle, sometimes inadvertent, subconscious aggressions or behaviors that make people feel like they don't have a safe place to express and fully be who they are. 6 of 10 employees today quit due to a lack of emotional safety, oftentimes caused by these so-set microaggressions. Examples of microaggressions that I've seen: lack of accessible options for team dialogues and activities. I've been in conversations where we're talking about strategy for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, a group of 6, 7, 8 people. I feel completely lost, even though I'm in the middle of that group, because I can't hear. Oftentimes when we don't work with or understand the people that we are working with, it's hard to accommodate for them. And it's hard for some people to speak out, like myself. I never spoke out until now. Sometimes investors, and myself included, I've been guilty of this many times, have used coded language that said that some people from a certain subset maybe don't have the same level of promise, skills, expertise to be successful as entrepreneurs later on. So as investors, I'm trying to hold everyone accountable for the language and the tone that we use with founders coming up. Being Latino, one of the things that I believe you alluded to before is this get your work done type mentality, and don't cause too many ripples in the pond. Sometimes I have had white or dominant coworkers say, speak up, speak out, which is almost forcing this idea of aggressive personality or dominant personality in the workplace. Sometimes culture is unique to who we are, unique to where we come from, and it's important to appreciate and realize that. So what are some ways that I have been actively working on that you could potentially learn from? Realize this, we're all human. It's important to be humble. We're gonna make mistakes in this work. But everyone wants to feel safe and valued at the end of the day. Be self-aware and aware of when microaggressions are happening. Say something. Learn the difference between mentorship and sponsorship, because they're two very different things. Create a culture-oriented environment where feedback can be given in many different ways, which I believe was alluded to before. It could be anonymous feedback. It could be blunt, in-your-face feedback, where sometimes it's a little bit hard to hear. Listen, and avoid being defensive when someone speaks up about a comment construed as microaggression. And then finally, create an accessible environment for people like myself, for people who you might work with in the future. Because at the end of the day, we all need a hand up, and we all need someone to work with who will work, support, love, value, and cherish us in the workplace. So thank you for all the work that you do. I'm very excited to be here, and have a great day.